Bob Marley, born February 6, 1945, 9 Miles, St. Anne, Jamaica, died May 11, 1981. Miami, Florida, US, was a Jamaican singer-songwriter whose thoughtful ongoing distillation of early ska, rocksteady, and reggae musical forms blossomed in the 1970s into an electrifying rock-influenced hybrid that made him an international superstar.
Marley, whose parents were Norval Sinclair Marley, a white rural overseer, and the former Cedella Malcolm, the black daughter of a local custos, would forever remain the unique product of parallel worlds. His poetic worldview was shaped by the countryside, his music by the tough, impoverished West Kingston streets. Marley's maternal grandfather was not just a prosperous farmer, but also a bush doctor adept at the mysticism-steeped herbal healing that guaranteed respect in Jamaica's remote hill country. As a child, Marley was known for his shy aloofness, his startling stare, and his penchant for palm reading. Virtually kidnapped by his absentee father, who had been disinherited by his own prominent family for marrying a black woman, the pre-adolescent Marley was taken to live with an elderly woman in Kingston until a family friend rediscovered the boy by chance and returned him to the village of 9 Miles.
By his early teens, Marley was back in West Kingston, living in government-subsidized housing in Trenchtown, a desperately poor area often compared to an open sewer. In the early 1960s, while a schoolboy serving an apprenticeship as a welder, Marley was exposed to the languid, jazz-inflected shuffle-beat rhythms of ska, a Jamaican amalgam of American rhythm and blues and Jamaican mento strains, then catching on commercially. Marley was a fan of Fats Domino, the Moonglows, and pop singer Ricky Nelson, but when his big chance came in 1961 to record with producer Leslie Kong, he cut Judge Not, a peppy ballad he had written that was derived from rural maxims learned from his grandfather. Among his other early tracks was One Cup of Coffee, issued in 1963 in England on Chris Blackwell's Anglo-Jamaican Island Records label. Marley also formed a vocal group in Trenchtown with friends who would later be known as Peter Tosh and Bunny Wailer. The trio, which named itself the Wailers because, as Marley stated, "We started out crying," received vocal coaching by noted singer Joe Higgs. Later, they were joined by vocalist Junior Braithwaite and backup singers Beverly Kelso and Cherry Green. In December 1963, the Wailers entered Coxsone Dodd's Studio One facilities to cut Simmer Down, a song by Marley that he had used to win a talent contest in Kingston. Unlike the playful mento music that drifted from the porches of local tourist hotels, or the pop and rhythm and blues filtering into Jamaica from American radio stations, Simmer Down was an urgent anthem from the shantytown precincts of the Kingston underclass. A huge overnight smash, it played an important role in recasting the agenda for stardom in Jamaican music circles. No longer did one have to parrot the stylings of overseas entertainers. It was possible to write raw, uncompromising songs for and about disenfranchised, poverty-stricken West Indians. This bold stance transformed both Marley and his island nation, engendering the urban poor with a pride that would become a pronounced source of identity in Jamaican culture, as would the Wailers' Rastafarian faith, a creed popular among the impoverished people of the Caribbean who worshipped the late Ethiopian emperor Haile Selassie Ban as the African redeemer foretold in popular, quasi-biblical prophecy. The Wailers did well in Jamaica during the mid-1960s with their ska records, even during Marley's sojourn to Delaware in 1966 to visit his relocated mother and find temporary work. Reggae material created in 1969-71 with producer Lee Perry increased the contemporary stature of the Wailers, and once they signed in 1972 with the international label Island and released Catch a Fire, their uniquely rock-contoured reggae gained a global audience. It also earned the charismatic Marley superstar status, which gradually led to the dissolution of the original triumvirate about early 1974. Although Peter Tosh would enjoy a distinguished solo career before his murder in 1987, many of his best solo albums, such as Equal Rights 1977, were underappreciated, as was Bunny Wailer's excellent solo album Black Heart Man 1976. Eric Clapton's version of the Wailers' I Shot the Sheriff in 1974 spread Marley's fame. Meanwhile, Marley continued to guide the skilled Wailers band through a series of potent topical albums. By this point, Marley was also being backed by a trio of female vocalists, including his wife, Rita Marley, née Alfarita Constania Anderson. She later achieved her own recording success, as would many of the couple's children, especially together as the group Ziggy Marley and the Melody Makers, led by Marley's eldest son. Featuring eloquent songs like No Woman No Cry, Exodus, Could You Be Loved, Coming In From the Cold, Jamming, and Redemption Song, Marley's landmark albums included Natty Dread, 1974, Live, 1975, Rastaman Vibration, 1976, Exodus 1977, Kaya 1978, Uprising 1980, and The Posthumous Confrontation 1983. Exploding in Marley's reedy tenor, his songs were public expressions of personal truths, eloquent in their uncommon mesh of rhythm and blues, rock, and venturesome reggae forms, and electrifying in their narrative, might. Making music that transcended all its stylistic roots, Marley fashioned an impassioned body of work that was sui generis. He also loomed large as a political figure, and in 1976 survived what was believed to have been a politically motivated assassination attempt. The Smile Jamaica concert, at which Marley and the Wailers were scheduled to perform on December 5, 1976, and which was initially framed as an apolitical celebration of community, came to be widely viewed as an endorsement of the incumbent Prime Minister, Michael Manley, of the People's National Party, who sought to capitalize on that perception by following the announcement of the concert with a call for legislative elections. 2 days before the concert, a group of gunmen, perhaps seeking to punish Marley for his supposed support of Manley, broke into Marley's home and wounded Rita Marley, Bob Marley's manager, an employee of the band, and Marley himself. Shortly after performing the concert, Marley fled Jamaica, first to the Bahamas and then to London, where he lived in exile for a period and recorded Exodus, which would be hailed by Time magazine as the most important album of the 20th century, a political and cultural nexus, drawing inspiration from the Third World and then giving voice to it the world over. In 1978, according to some observers, Jamaica was on the brink of civil war, and Marley's attempt to broker a truce between the country's warring political factions led in April of that year to his headlining the One Love Peace concert. At the concert, Marley brought together Manley and his political adversary Edward Seager of the Jamaica Labour Party, who would become Prime Minister in 1980. Marley's socio-political clout also earned him an invitation to perform in 1980 at the ceremonies celebrating majority rule and internationally recognized independence for Zimbabwe. In April 1981, the Jamaican government awarded Marley the Order of Merit. A month later, he died of cancer. Although his songs were some of the best-liked and most critically acclaimed music in the popular canon, Marley is far more renowned in death than he had been in life. Legend 1984, a retrospective of his work, became the best-selling reggae album ever, with international sales of more than 12 million copies. In conclusion, Bob Marley's life was a testament to resilience, love, and the power of music to transcend boundaries. From his humble beginnings in Jamaica to becoming a global icon of reggae, Marley's journey was marked by passion, activism, and a commitment to spreading messages of peace and unity. His legacy continues to inspire millions around the world, reminding us of the enduring impact one person can have. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time, keep the spirit of Bob Marley alive in your hearts.